right, this is our first panel. Of course, the topic must be the race to AGI and ASI. In order to warm up our speakers, I ask a simple question. Who are you, what do you do, and why do you sit on this panel? Christian.
Hello everyone, I'm Christian Bogatu. I'm Investment Director at SPRIND, the German Federal Agency for Breakthrough Innovation. Who knows SPRIND already? Oh, a lot of people still don't know. This is great. So this is why I'm here, basically, so that everyone knows what we're doing. We are like a venture capital fund and like an incubator, totally financed from the German government. We can do investments mostly in Germany, but also in Europe and also globally. We do tickets between 100,000, this is when we start, get to know the company. We actually pay for due diligence. So we sometimes give a validation contract, non-dilutive as revenue for 200,000, and then we understand the technology really deeply and we get to know the team behind it. And then we can invest up to 100 million or like this.
Wow.
Basically also leveraging other funds from the German and European.
I remember that 100 million. From 100,000 to 100 million, that's what I call scalability.
And probably not enough. We get to that in a second. Yeah, we do sector agnostic investments. I'm personally an entrepreneur myself. I've been here on stage pitching my own startups in the climate space before. And yeah, now I'm very happy to be here as a federal agent, which is such a
federal agent
thing to be.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, we talk about federal agents later, more in detail. James, who are you?
Yeah, so James Xu, my name, Xin Xu. I just made a pitch for ELMI, so I'm here today to join this event, to get to know each other with you guys, to share my understanding of AI, of the climate change. So that's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, and you will talk in a second about China. Chris, I have chosen you because you worked a lot in AI in the past before starting Lubit.
True.
And we just heard your pitch, so maybe you can give us a first idea about how you observe AI development from your point of view.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe quick context. In my past life, I was the CIO in Artefact in Paris, which is one of Europe's biggest AI consultancies, I guess. And it's almost embarrassing because my diploma in machine learning, as it were, is from 99, I think, 2000. So absolutely not sexy at the time at all. But there's one thing that we can take from way back and up, and it still applies, which is AI is still just a prediction engine. It's literally not conscious. It's just very, very good at knowing everything and using it to predict. And this is actually how I still approach all the discussions of AI. And superintelligence, we can talk about it in this debate. It comes later. It's not the stage where we are right now, just to open with that.
Mm-hmm. Torben?
Yeah, my name is Torben Schwellnuss. I build and ship production-grade software based on AI, LLMs mostly, and agents that actually deliver on the promise of efficiency gains for the customers. Most recently, I did that for Solar. I pivoted Solar, who some of you may still know from last year's pitch. I talked about how we pivoted the company from an installer company to a SaaS company, where we actually built an AI agentic-based platform for installers that actually delivered on the 20% efficiency gain for those installers in their planning processes. Sold that last October to a competitor. Right now, I consult companies, and I think what I can bring to this group here is a bit the practitioner side, how that actually is implemented, what's actually needed out there, and how to actually get it in front of people.
Full disclosure here, I'm not an AI researcher, as you may know. I have not yet developed my first AI agent, but I'm visionary and I like science fiction. So let me ask Torben, in your experience using AI models and what has been developed by so many companies recently, how much did it improve how much did the capabilities improve in the last 12 months? Where were we 12 months ago and where are we now? And maybe if we are racing a little bit forward into the future, what do you expect to happen next? Yeah? To give you one little hint, I'm following, of course, Anthropic on LinkedIn, and the amount of posts by Anthropic about new features related to Claude and co-work and what it can do now is just, from my point of view, astonishing.
Yeah. So I think there's two different ways to look at what actually changed in the last 12 months. There's probably more, but I'm going to go into two. One is we always hear the new versions being dropped of the LLMs, right? We use that as a benchmark for ourselves, usually to say like, wow, something must massively improved. Then there's a technical benchmarks behind those, like GPQA, which and SEV and AGI too. You'll probably know that, which basically are attempts to numerically and objectively assess the capabilities of these models. And that's those numbers, on one hand, in the last 12 months have massively increased to a level where if you only look at these numbers, they have, all of these benchmarks have surpassed what a human can do, right? These benchmarks alone. That's one thing, so you can say the IQ, so that basically I ask something and something comes back, that has massively improved. AI is now smarter than most humans in answering. What the other thing that has changed for certain topics, right? Not for everything. The other thing that has changed, and that's I think the major change, is AI has become agentic. It means it has an agency. It can do things, and I think that's the biggest shift. Before it was really just you put in something and you get something back, and that's pretty much it. Now it's much more robust in multi-step evaluation of questions and actually interacting with the outside world, digital outside world currently mostly, and that feels like an amazing great step, right? So how much has it improved? I can't really say, but it's a completely different world than a year ago, right? A year ago, we would use AI to answer questions for us and then take those questions manually and do something with them and maybe put them back in again. Now all that happens at once, right? So maybe quick check who here has an OpenClaw agent running. 1, 2. Okay, we still have some upgrading to do for you guys. But that's something that happened, right? And that's, I think, the biggest step. Despite all the numbers and obviously context windows, all that stuff has massively increased and makes everything more smart and everything cool. But the biggest change is it can now do stuff.
And I think what you just said, that, oh, you're not an AI researcher, you cannot disrupt the field yourself. A year ago, I would have said, yeah, you're right. Yeah. But now, you have all the tools to become a disruptor, even if you have no pre-education in this space. Like me, I'm also like totally not native, an AI native. But anyone with the tools available right now, instead of listening to people sitting here on stage, you could in that time probably build things on AI, go to Perplexity computer and build stuff instead of
I get your message. We cut the panel short. Start coding and agent developing because it's a waste of time, right? Only talking about it. Let's have the agents be working for us.
Right, put agents here.
Yeah, okay. But I still like humans, and I told you last year that Ecosummit is an event by humans for humans, and even if the AI becomes omnipresent and omniscient, I still think Ecosummit has a good future.
100%. Yeah. Don't take me too serious, but go home and work on.
Yeah, and let us learn about next frontier AI, because you have some strong ideas at SPRIND, what Europe can do in order to develop new AI in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, there's jokes in the internet, right? Memes where you see like people fighting for supremacy in AI, and the Europeans, they develop the new plastic cup regulation and things like that. So we are really people making jokes about us, and that's also for a reason. And we could say we've been doing extremely poorly in the past. There's no frontier AI lab in Europe, except for there's some great companies like Mistral or Black Forest Labs, right, in niche, but not comparable, obviously. So there is a chance for Europe to leapfrog on the next S-curve, right? The technology always comes in S-curves. We've seen that in many spaces. So we want to help get on the next S-curve, and who, if not SPRIND, should be as well on this path. So we've started the Next Frontier AI Challenge. That's actually our biggest challenge at SPRIND with 127 million right now, with a path to later have for the 3 winning frontier AI labs in Europe a 1 billion euro investment. We don't have this 1 billion per lab yet. It's 3 billion that we need. But we are working on making this happen, because this is what's missing in Europe. It's this deep follow-on funding.
Yeah, I was actually with your help in Munich at a roadshow event of Next Frontier AI, because currently they are searching for 10, and they will be narrowed down in 2 steps to 3, to 6, and then to 3. 2 different, you have to reach some milestones, and you are going broadly. And what is the application deadline? Is it end of April, or until when can teams apply for a grant from you? Because this is non-dilutive grant money.
I don't know the exact deadline, but it's Next Frontier NF, so Next Frontier AI Challenge,
yeah.
And then you find the exact
I
deadline.
think end of April, or maybe even end of June, but we have to confirm it.
And it's European-wide. It doesn't need to be only German researchers. It could be from anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's non-dilutive, so every winning of the 3 winning teams, they get guaranteed about 25 million euros non-dilutive funding. Is that enough? Definitely not, right? But that's creating a seedling, or 3 seedlings.
Yeah.
Right?
James, let's bring you in. China, because China is also participating in the race to AGI and ASI. What can you tell us? How do you observe it from your point of view? What's happening in China?
So it's like in the US, it's a lot of happening. So the Chinese people, they embrace AI. So AI is already there. It's embedded everywhere. So everywhere is AI. So especially in the production, in your daily life. So I think AI is already an integral part of their daily life and in production industry. So basically, they see AI is coming. They embrace AI very active, positive, and also basically they say, so AI is like flood. If the flood comes, it doesn't help that you build your house higher. You need a boat. You need a boat. You need to learn. You need to use the tools to grow with the AI that you stand always above, always above. It's already there. So different between China and US. So US is working very strong on LLM, so on strong models. In China, they go a practical way. They connect AI to all the applications. They build a lot of agents to connect with applications because the Chinese are practical and they use it for their daily life. And China is very strong in productions, in smart hardware. That's the reason they have a different approach than US. So far, they're doing very good. I think they are on way to the AGI. And there are several very big companies, 3 or 4, competing with US. I think they are on a good way to catch up.
Give us a reality check, a critique, or even a little forecast about AI development from your point of view, Chris.
Yeah. So as I said, it's important to remember that they are not conscious, and they will not be conscious very soon. And let me elaborate on that specific point. They're very good at predicting, aggregating and predicting. And as you said, already human level or higher. So realizing that, for myself personally, I realized what we need to understand is how do we get from that to consciousness? And I've been spending a couple of years reading up on consciousness. So let me share that with you because it gives you a context for understanding when AGI happens. The key thing is AGI does not happen in a centralized one LLM. It's not one cluster of computers. Why? Because consciousness is an emergent thing that happens in a huge, complex system in humans, right? And the only thing that would mirror that in an AI world would be that consciousness emerges as an emergent pattern from all of us being represented by agents and acting like human agents and synthetic agents, collaborating, and out of that, consciousness could happen. Not tomorrow, but not far after, actually. But you see what I'm saying? It's not one big machine. It's not hell. It's all of us creating something that out of that comes consciousness. And I'm a techno-optimist, so I'm actually not scared of that, but it has some really wild consequences.
Are you talking about a collective consciousness?
I'm saying that consciousness, an AI that can, again, AI can aggregate and predict, but it's very close to figuring out how to find new knowledge, right? That is the turning point. When it figures out how to do new knowledge and can collaborate, then we get to that.
Okay. Yeah? So this is an open question. Let's further discuss it, because I remember with Stefan a couple of weeks ago, he was asking me, is AI conscious? And of course, it's a question that I was asking Gemini and Claude, my two favorite ones. But I've come across the term self-awareness, which is, I think, a step to consciousness.
True.
And I think that that is a concept and a state that already has been reached. And maybe you know about mechanistic interpretability. Who has heard the term? Nobody? Mechanistic interpretability, I think Dario Amodei and his people kind of invented it. It is the understanding, the attempt to understand what is happening inside a large language model. Because it is, for many reasons, a black box. Because it is so crazy what is happening inside a large language model that humans developing it need to post-training to find ways in order to understand what is really happening inside the AI. Yeah? So if you want to go further, Google for mechanistic interpretability or ask your favorite AI to explain the concept to you. It gives you an idea why, again, Dario Amodei has written his latest essay called The Adolescence of Technology in a very critical way. Because there are so many risks around, and I think a CEO of a company like Anthropic is really carrying on a day-to-day basis a lot of responsibility, because they know that they are working on something incredible and even very hard to understand for the best AI researchers in the world. They cannot 100% understand what they're developing. No. That's an amazing insight, isn't it? Have you heard?
Could be scary, but it's good. Like, warning is good, but scaring is bad, because then people say, or like in the US even, where you would not expect it at all, people say, we don't want data centers here. This is evil. Like, I think 17% of the US people only are in real favor of AI. In China, it seems to be 100%. And I don't know what's the case in Germany, but I think we don't have to be scared, because otherwise we just come up with a regulation, and that's what the Europeans have been doing, and we try to be the referee in a game that we don't even play and know how to play. So that's probably not the right approach.
We did a pre-meeting, and I need to ask you first, James, and another key question about consciousness is one, but then the next one is, who controls AI? Who will control it and who should be controlling it in the future? Will it be the government or companies? What do you think? Who should control AI in the future? Who would you trust more? The Chinese government or the Chinese companies?
It's very tough questions. It's node A and node B, I think. So right now, so actually, there must be some control. There must be some rules to control AI. I think it will be a process of iteration. So because AI is progressing very quick, new problem will raise, and you have solutions for problems. It will go hand by hand. Regulation and the solutions, they will grow up hand by hand. So in the end, I don't think, of course, the government cannot and should not control it, and also the bigger corporates, which is profit-driven, they should not control it. In the end, I think rather a no-profit organization organized on the level of the whole world should contribute to restrain it. But in the end, it could be difficult because most of the countries see they must equip with AI, different models, different approaches. It's a competition in the end. So it's a tough question. I don't have the right answer, but I think it must be controlled on the international level to somehow control the risk.
Chris, what is your answer to the same question? Who should control AI?
My answer is that it cannot be controlled. And it's not a defensive answer, it's actually a human answer, I guess. Again, if you agree with me that it's going to be an emergent thing that comes out of all of us as ants collaborating to create intelligence in the little anthill, it cannot be controlled. And we have to face that. And if I bring that all the way back to the individual, without being a sociologist, but we need to learn to live in this world where there are humans and there are synthetic somethings acting as humans.
If it cannot be controlled, then does the AI control itself?
Yes, I guess so.
Will it be able to do things with an interior goal? That is what I mentioned in the morning about the alignment. Is the AI, whether it is consciousness or just intelligence, is it intelligent enough to develop its own goals?
I think one of the things we can do, you can grab from how Web3 has evolved. How do we protect, tokenized money? We protect it by proof of work. You have to deliver a lot of work to do a proof mathematically, which makes it harder to break the protocol. And I think we need to apply something similar in this thinking. We simply need to build in mechanisms that would make it, prohibitively difficult to do something that humanity doesn't want.
Torben, what is your take on the control question?
Yeah, so I think I'm very much with you, Chris. I think ultimately it cannot be controlled. However, I do think we need some sort of governance around it. And that has to be multipolar, right? It has to be governments, it has to be companies, and especially it has to be humans, people, the civil society, that where the government basically acts on behalf of that. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, some safety reasons, safeguarding, making sure that shit doesn't go crazy. But also, and we saw it a little bit in the States, and I think it was last year, when all of a sudden, it's always been the OpenAI charter, but Sam Altman, of all people, suggested, hey, we need to put governance around this, we have to control it, right? That ultimately was his attempt to stifle innovation from smaller companies to come up, right? And we have to make sure that that doesn't happen, because else we would stifle innovation. And we need some sort of controlling body. Maybe we have them already in how we control the economy in general. But yeah, I do agree. Ultimately, it can't be controlled, and we can create the environment. Us as humans can create the environment that's safe, and that's how we can control it.
What is your take?
Well, I fully agree. Right, technology will always outpace any kind of regulation, and things that are really dangerous come from places where we don't even expect them. So if we try to now say this is going to happen with AI, so we have to regulate it now, especially as Europeans, where we don't even have the capabilities in-house here, so we are creating a toothless regulation, and technology will outpace that every day. Right, and if you look at Facebook or gaming, these social bubbles, those are real problems for democracy, for humans. If like kids are just gaming all the time because the games are designed to make them want it and feel happy. So, and we don't have regulation for that either, right? So we will never be able to do that. And we cannot also say AI should get a conscious and human values injected would be nice, but like we don't even agree on the planet on human common values, right?
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I can hear a lot of hope on this panel. We do not know what is actually going to happen, and it will be crazy what is going to happen. But just give you one more thought. OpenAI, it was founded by people like Elon Musk, who was involved in the beginning. It was a reaction to the acquisition of DeepMind by Google. Afterwards, it was OpenAI being created, founded. And it was a public benefit. The name OpenAI, it was a non-profit idea in the beginning. Elon Musk was committing 100 million, but then he clashed with Sam Altman and he went out of the deal. Sam Altman started to raise capital. And now I told you the number in the morning, $840 billion valuation. So what is happening in the world as I see it? Capitalism, especially US capitalism in California, is pushing with so much capital the development of AI forward. The Europeans will not catch up. In my point of view, it's already decided who is going to win. It will be the Americans. China, unfortunately, will not catch up. They don't have enough hardware, chip capability. So it will be one of the top 3 American companies. And they are companies, they are profit-driven. They are making money. They will IPO. Most likely OpenAI and Anthropic are going to IPO this year. SpaceX just announced this weekend that they are probably filing for the IPO within a week. They want to raise $75 billion in an IPO at a target valuation of probably $1.75 trillion. The biggest IPO in history was Saudi Aramco with 25 billion. So this will be 3x the size. Yeah? There's so much capital, and we come to the conclusion that at a certain point of time in the future, AI will be so intelligent that it cannot be controlled anymore, even not by these companies, the model makers that are developing these models. It's unbelievable. Time to end you have one more?
Yeah, if you see California, they already control the internet. They control the internet, and they invest a lot of money in data center, in LLM language model. That's the reason I think they want to become the infrastructure for the AI, for the tokens.
Yeah.
So they become the infrastructure physically, and they have the AI, they have the data. I think it's very tough to control them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
But one single person, without all the money that you just referred to, disrupted the whole industry on a weekend, basically. So that can happen again.
You mean OpenClaw?
Yes, with Peter Steinberger, creating something where it's like end of 22 was the ChatGPT moment, and now there's this OpenClaw moment, and just one person.
Yeah.
Maybe a little team behind him, but.
Yeah. An amazing future, an amazing period, amazing time in which we live. And I think it's time to end this panel and to have a big coffee break. I thank you for your attention, and I hope also for a good future, AI future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan.